Hey everyone, Egman here with another video, and today we've got kind of a new video type for me. Normally when I do Decklist, I just do the whole Decklist, talk about it, and sometimes put gameplay at the end, but I feel for Digimon it's better to just kind of talk about an archetype. A lot of the kind of ways the game plays and the decks are very similar in a core aspect with some tech cards instead. So I think I'd rather do a video where I can show people the archetype, show what I would put in any slot, and then put an example deck list at the end. So let me know what you guys think about this. If you do enjoy this video, please put a like or put a comment in this video, just so I know to keep doing these for other archetypes. And also, if you do, let me know it for another archetype, and we'll just really go through it. But for this one, we're going to talk about ShineGreymon. This is a new archetype that was technically introduced in BT2, but that's 1.5 for us in North America. The whole idea about this guy is you just play a bunch of tamers, and these tamers are really good at gaining like a lot of memory advantage later in the game. And so just being able to play, like ShineGreymon is just good. Being able to, when you digivolve with him, you're able to just play a tamer card. And then also, you go into your ShineGreymon, so when digivolving, suspend all your yellow tamers. For each tamer you suspend this way, activate the following effect. One of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4k for the turn, so if you have 3 tamers, you just, rest all 3, and then if you do that, you're able to give them minus 12k, or you can do minus 4k among 3 things, or anything like that. So it's really flexible. It's a really good boss monster for, like, doing, a big board wipe or just disruption. Like the fact that this can either kill like a big dude or a bunch of little dudes or like 2 medium dudes or something like that, like it's just really flexible, and it's a cool deck to build around. It's a little linear, but I think that's fine, and there's just some cool stuff you really do with it. Also, this game is plus 1k DP for each tamer you have in play, so like this becomes a real big boy later in the game as well, which is great because the ShineGreymon has an inheritable. If you have 3 or more yellow tamers in play, this Digimon gains security attack +1. So having a security attack +1 like 14k 15k is pretty good to kind of end the game when you get there. So let's go first start with the tamers. So I think you should run somewhere between 8 and 10 of them in this deck. You definitely want to be able to see them, but it's kind of hard because they kind of can clog your hand at the same time. Additionally, just the fact that if your opponent hits them with security, they're amazing. Just being able to play like TK for free is great. Either one of them, or even Kari. Kari is really good at end game. Just if your opponent she kind of like saves you if you're getting really aggroed on, just because you get extra memory and you can just kind of survive because of that. But I'd say that my favorite one, TK, you probably want to run as many as you can, probably up to 4 of even. Super great card. It's probably like my best and favorite turn 1 play for this deck, because you just play it, you look at your security, you either take the one you need or like you take the weakest out. You can kind of know it's in there too, to kind of expect. And then also just being able to have 3 memory every turn for this deck is amazing as well, just because it gets what you want. Kari is probably my second favorite, just because like the fact with a lot of these effects that say 3 or fewer security cards, even if they do nothing, that means you're winning, because like if you have 5 security, that usually means you're doing something good and you're surviving. And then if you have 3 or less, it gives you an extra oomph and kind of helps you when you're losing, right? So being able to help you when you're losing is fine, and if they do nothing when you're winning, you're still winning, so it's not detrimental there. And then there's TK. I don't really like this one as much, but it is cheap. Just being able to play this for 2 is really good. Over your security, get Digimon, get plus 2k, which is fine, except for running just so many tamers anyways. And like, I don't know, I just feel like he's my least favorite. You can run him if you want. I probably would put 4 TK and at least 3 Kari. And you can just either do another Kari or like some TKs from here, but I think these 2 are the main ones that you really want. And those, based on my own testing, those are what I really like from this. Next up is our Digi Eggs. You definitely want to run 5 in this deck. I'd say that Upamon's probably our best one. Kind of the same idea as Kari, where if this Digi Egg doesn't do anything the entire game, that probably means you're winning, and then you're fine, right? Like if it kind of is like the opposite of like win more, right? If you don't do anything, like for example Cupidmon is like the opposite of this. If you have 5 more security cards, you can trigger draw 1, right? And if that's happening, you're probably winning the game anyways, right? So it just gives you more advantage when you're already winning. I'd say Upamon, where it gives you more advantage when you're losing or when you're close to losing, can really help you clutch it out a lot of the time. So I think 4 Upamons to play. And then also Nairomon is pretty good too. When this Digimon is suspended, all your security Digimon get plus 1k DP. So this can be really nice too if you're running something, especially if you're running like the little TK, just because it really starts to add up. I think there's better, like probably just a better archetype that has that TK and everything in it. But I think I'd probably put 4 of this Upamon and 1 of this Nairomon instead. I don't think Cupidmon is really good for what we're really going for. Next up for our rookies, I'd probably run 13 to 15. That's pretty standard for most decks, but we have a good amount to kind of choose from. I'd say the top row is kind of the more popular ones, and then bottom row is kind of where you want it to be. So we've got Patamon. This one, I really like this guy, especially just because it can just generate a bunch of hand advantage. You play it, reveal top 4 from your deck, add all yellow tamers among them to your hand, and place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck. So it just helps you get cards to your deck from your deck to your hand, which means you can easier free play them from your hand later in the game. We've got Lotmon, which is a card from BT3. You look at top card from your security stack, you may add that card to your hand to trigger draw 1. So just the fact that you're able to play this to draw 2 cards is amazing. It's just really, really good in that regard too. And then if you look at the top card and you want, like for example, you see a Tamer, then you probably just don't want to do anything because your opponent can swing into it and you get to play it for free too. So it just gives you either information or hand advantage, and both are really great. So I think this is a great card to run at 4 as well. Salamon is also an amazing card. Just really helps you stay into the game. So it's just on deletion if you have 3 or fewer security cards, trigger recovery +1, which just helps you get, like, if your opponent is going too aggressive, you can play this. You can swing into nothing. You swing into something, have it die, and then you gain security, which really helps you out. And we also have this Agumon. This one's okay. I don't think you really need this because I think if you have 3 or more Tamers out already, you're kind of already winning. But if you're, when inheritable, when attacking, you draw 1. We also have pretty much this Labramon and Patamon, kind of similar things where Labramon, when one of your opponent's Digimon is deleted by dropping it to 0 DP, trigger draw 1. And we also have Patamon, when opponent's Digimon is deleted by dropping to 0, gain 1 memory. I think this Patamon is probably a little bit better than this Labramon, but just it kind of depends on your build and what you're expecting. Also, for both these guys, if ShineGreymon deletes 2 or more things when it uses its effect, you only get to pop it. You proc this once, so you don't gain like 3 memory. If you pop 3 things with Labramon, if it's underneath, with Patamon, or draw 3 cards. So that's just something to consider there. We also have the promo Patamon. If you have 1 or fewer security cards triggered at recovery 1, I think this is a great card too, just because it kind of just helps you. You're going to have a lot of if you have 1 or less security, chances you have 2 or 3 Kyrie out, so you're just going to have like a bunch of abundant security and a recovery. So just being able to play this for 4, compared to playing a blocker for 5 to kind of like do the same thing to recover 1, I feel like this Patamon just helps you out a lot. And there's some cool things you can do. If like you're at 1 security or something, you can play Patamon, go to 2, and then if you have like a Salamon, you can crash it, and then you have 3 security all of a sudden. Like, it's just a lot of recovery potential. And then we also have like Vanilla. I think Vanillas are never wrong in this, but I don't think we have like a lot of good turn 4 plays or anything, or we don't have like a lot of things to use our Vanillas for. So I don't think we need the 2 cost for this deck. Next up are champions. I think these top 3 are just the ones you want to use almost all the time. Unamon as a blocker is super good. Tururimon is just a Digivolve 1, 4 cost is really good. And then Repamon, being able to just hardcast this for 3, and then it just means that if you have like a TK out, you can hardcast this for 3, and then you can go into ShineGreymon afterwards. So I feel like this card is just super good. Just being able to be a 4 cost to play for 3 is just amazing. But some other options you can also choose. Ankylomon can be really cheesy, but the fact that you gain so much security +1, and you just get a lot of security, the chances that you can just like cheese this out for free is high. So I think there's some potential there for you if you have a lot of recovery in their decks. Angemon is okay, but I don't think the -3k like does anything. It's not enough of a removal to really warrant it in my mind. And then GeoGreymon, kind of a similar thing. If you have 3 or more yellow Digimon in play, one of your opponent's Digimon gets -2k for the turn. So it's not great. I mean, if you're running GeoGreymon and Angemon, you can give something -5k if you swing with the big boy and then like play this. But I feel like you just have better plays for this energy, and it's just enough. If this is like -4k maybe, it'd be fine, but just 3k is not enough, especially since a lot of like rookie rush strategies have a bunch of 4 and 5ks available to them now that this Angemon doesn't really do anything. Going to our ultimates, so I think ShineGreymon is what you really, really want for this, for sure, and then from there you can kind of go from where you want. I think Angelwoman at 2 is probably pretty safe. Just when Digivolving, if you're less security cards triggered recovery +1, so it just really helps you out. And then also Shakuamon, like the top ones are just great for like Digivolving, so Shakuamon's also really good as well. This Digimon is treated as blue, but also opponents turn forward opponents has no, if all of your opponents' Digimon with no Digivolution sources gain security attack -1. So it just helps you be kind of passive aggressive, and like it helps against Rookie Rush a lot of the time. If you're really, if you're worried about Rookie Rush, this is a good card just because they're able to, they have to Digivolve on top of stuff to go into their things, which means they have to use memory in cards. And then we have 2 vanillas available to us. We have a 5/2 with a 6K or a 7/2 with an 8K. I think both are fine. Probably I like ShineGreymon more just because you can hard cast it for 5, and then next turn you can go to Rise, into Shine. But Antilomon's also really good if you're just wanting the cheap Digivolsion. But the fact that we're probably going to be having TK out every turn means that I feel like we're going to have 3 every time to go into. The 3 Digivolution cost from 4 to 5 isn't too big of a deal for this deck if we're assuming we're going to have TK out every time. And with Magna Angemon, which is just great to play. Sometimes we just don't have our cards out to go into our chain, so just being able to hard cast this and do a recovery 1 is good, especially since late if we're like losing and we're at like 1 or 2 memory, we're gonna have with a TK out and like 2 Karis, we're gonna have 5 memory for the turn, so we can just easily play this and just give our opponent 2 memory as well. So there's just plays with it as well. So I think that's really handy. Once again, I think ShineGreymon is the one you want to do if you want to hard cast that. So same situation. If you have 3 Tamers out with 2 Karis and a TK, with like 3 or less security, you can play this for 5 and then go into Shine in the same turn. So if you have nothing on board, you can just do that and then do -12K across things. So I think that's really good. But yeah, these I think are the ultimates you would want to choose from there. And then lastly, the Megas. So ShineGreymon, definitely want to run 4. I'd run 6 if I could, because you just want to see him you get a lot of cycle in this deck, but you definitely just want to see him. And so 4 is the minimum you should run for the deck, and then from there it kind of goes from there. I think like 6 is probably the actual mega instead of 4 to 8, probably 4 to 6. Just because you want to be able to have Shine and then like 2 like backup ones, just so you have something else to do to a level 6 in case you can't find your Shine. Slash Angemon is good in a way. Just being able to Digivolve, do -8K usually means you're able to get delete anything with a cost of 5 or less pretty easily. An ultimate or lower. You can't pop a mega usually unless it's like another Slash Angemon. But there's that. I like Mastamon a lot just because you're able to help self awake or self hit your security. So if you want to be at 3 or less to get a bunch of your things active, you can too. Also, this can be like a surprise win condition when your opponent's not expecting to be at like 1 or less. You can just play this and go from there. And the fact that we have like a bunch of good cards that we can play from here, we have blockers. We have if we have like the Potamon and we have like 0 security left or 1 security left, we can do it, and so we don't actually lose the security. I think there's just like a bunch of cool plays you can do with this. And then Katarasmon's also not a bad choice as well. Just it pretty much makes you lets you live another turn, and then on top of that, like it just can trade really well, and if it pops, you can pop one of your opponent's cards too. So I just really like all these cards, but I'd probably lean around 6. If you want to go crazy and run 8, you can, but I think 4 Shine and then 2 of your favorite one of these is really what to go from there. And then lastly, option cards. I don't think you should run too many of these just because usually you're going to have a lot of Tamers. I think the popular one is Glorious Burst, which this card is good. Reduce the memory cost of this card in your hand by 1 for each yellow Tamer that you have in play. So, but let's say you just have like 4 Tamers out. This is still a 5 cost to give something -12K, which is fine. But I feel like Eden's Javelin is just better, especially since this doesn't have a security effect. And if you're using a lot of cards to recover, you want something that has a security effect instead of not. And I feel like Eden's Javelin's just the play, because you trigger draw 1, and then one of your opponent's Digimon gets -1K for each card in your hand. And if you look at a lot of the cards in your deck, most of these cards cycle each other, are like you gain just card advantage with it. So it's not hard for this card to really go off and be like an 8K, 9K, even 10K late game. And so for 6 energy to do that, or 6 memory to do that, I feel like is better than like maybe like 6 on like late game doing this and then not having anything in the security. So if you're really doing a security heavy build, I'd recommend Eden's Javelin. But I think both these are fine. And then also, spoilers, Holy Wave I think is okay. Just trigger recovery 1 whenever you to hard cast it, but we really want it in your security since you pretty much just like don't take damage for one of the attacks, which is super nice. And then if you don't like Glorious Burst and you don't like even Javelin, I would consider 7/7, which is just like in between, where it gives something -10K, which doesn't pop most champions, but or sorry, not champions. Doesn't pop most megas, but it can pretty much pop anything lower than that. And then also you can do an activate main if you're, you hit something from your security with it. So there's that. Here's my example deck list. I'm running 4 Upamon, 1 Nairmon. My rookies are Patamon, and then also Salamon at 4 Upamon, and then also 4 Lotmon, sorry. And then 3 Patamon, Recovery 1 promo. For my champions, I'm running 4 blockers, 4 of the Terrariumon for the Digivolve of 1, and 3 Repamon. For my level 5s, I'm running 4 ShineGreymon, 2 Manda Onderbon, and also 2 Onderwomon. So just a bunch of recovery +1, which I feel like if you go really aggressive against this deck, it has a hard time. So I'd rather hedge my bets and just have a bunch of recovery options ready for me than just going hard and hoping I see my chain. And then for my level 6s, I have ShineGreymon and 2 Mastimons, because once again, since we recover so much, that means that if we're playing against a matchup that doesn't care about that, then we don't care about hitting our own security. And also it helps us get to 3 or lower so we can get our Kairis and our Upamons into play. And then for our tamers, we're only running 8. We're just running 4 TKs and 4 Kairi, just because I feel like this is consistent enough. I wouldn't run any less than 8, but I do like these. I don't like the 2-drop TKs, and I feel like Patamon can also help us find the tamers when we need them. And then we're also running 2 Eden's Javelins, because once again, I like this card a lot more for what it does, just because it's more flexible. It's not, it doesn't just pop something. If this card costs 10 and then instead had the security effect to activate it, I think this would be way worth it, but it doesn't. I don't even think this is just for 7 cost minus 10k something. 9 costs and minus 12k something, I think is already kind of expensive even with the reduction. So I feel like this should have gotten a security effect, but it doesn't, and that's okay, I guess. Just run Eden's Javelin in my opinion, but if you have your own, let me know. And yeah, and if you want to see this list too, if you want a link to it, there will be a link to it in the description below as well. But that's the entire video for you guys. Let me know what you guys felt about this video format, if this was good, if this was bad. If you want to see another one of these formats with a different archetype, please let me know in the comments below. Please subscribe, and then also follow my Twitch, because I just do a bunch of live streams for there as well, and I don't want you guys to miss it. And that's going to be it for me. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.